we discuss now the threats that are particular to firearms. There's a primary threat, which is the line of fire, and then there's the secondary threats, the noise, the muzzle flash, which we're going to group together as the field of fire. Now let's look at some strategies and ideas that are specific to firearms. First of all, tactically, we want to understand that the firearm, the pistol, evolved as a long-distance weapon, as a missile. They were used in the battlefield first for siege warfare, and then they got smaller and smaller, and now people can carry them. So why does a person want to get into your reach zone and have a firearm? Tactically, it's a bad idea. So somebody is using this weapon to intimidate you, to rob you, whatever. So you have to get into the mindset that whoever gets this close to you with a firearm is making a tactical error, and that's going to give you the opportunity to take advantage of that tactical error. Obviously, if the person's too far away using the weapon the way it's designed to be used, which is a missile weapon, you're in a different kind of self-defense. You're in a sniper or police situation, and there is no defense except to fire back or to take cover. The same as in the Middle Ages, if somebody had a bow and arrow or had a crossbow, it's the same idea. They're designed to shoot at you at a distance, and you need to take cover or shoot back depending on the context. Now this all changes when the attacker makes this tactical error. They're coming too close to you. The weapon is not designed to be used this close. It's a bad idea. What makes these kind of attacks so successful is because the victim is untrained, they're scared, they're facing trepidation and fear, as they should be, and so now the person is able to intimidate you and do whatever you want. So the beginning of firearm defense is to understand that the person is beginning to give you a tactical advantage the closer they get to you, because the reaction time shortens. You're able to make motions before they're able to pick up on them and respond. All right, so that's the beginning idea. So if somebody is intimidating you, they're coming to you, it's good to have them get closer to you instead of trying to back up. Okay, so now that we understand that, we want to now take that one step farther, that not only is the person getting too close to you, they're leading with the weapon. This is very common, that the person wants you to see the weapon. This is their intimidation. So instead of thinking, oh my God, he's sticking a gun in my face, it should be, oh my God, he's giving me a gun. Okay, so that's the mindset that we have to start working with. The closer he gets to me, he's presenting me this weapon. Thanks. All right, so with a lot of practice and the right mental attitude, this can be done. All right, so that's the first thing we want to start thinking. Anytime somebody's leading with the weapon, it's a tactical error, and I just presented him with the firearm. Okay, now let's look at some of the specifics that are common to all firearm defenses before we start looking at individual ones. First of all, like we talked about, the closer is better. Why? Because my reaction time is much better. The longer I am, the farther I am away, the longer it's going to take my hand to get here. He senses the input to his eyes, it goes to his brain, it comes down here and he pulls the trigger. All right? So as a rule, most of the research and the instructors are having a real simple rule. If you can't touch the weapon, your chances of doing this successfully go way down. So obviously you want to be within at least arm's distance. As you get closer, as we talked about, it becomes easier. Okay? Now another thing that is sometimes counterintuitive is the idea of trying to be fast. So when you see me move, you say bang. Bang. Okay, again. Bang. Do you see, I'm not moving fast and my hand gets halfway there before he sees it. Now watch. Okay, when you see me move, bang. All right, if I tense up beforehand, I'm giving him preliminary information. And it's going to be hard to relax to that degree, but you need to do enough training where you cannot be tense and flinching, try and be fast. What you want to do is be smooth, which actually comes from making small motions, natural motions. So many times when he sees me move, bang, see my hand is 3/4 of the way there, and I'm moving it at a snail's pace. Why does it take him so long to pick up on that? It's because there's no aggressive, jerky motion. So if I put a little more speed on there, you have a very good chance of getting a hold of that weapon before he sees it. Now, build on that, the basic idea that if my hands are moving and my body's moving, it's a lot easier to do this. This is motion for motion, one of the key concepts. All right? It's something like 30% more difficult to see what I'm doing if my hands or my body's in motion than if I'm completely static like this. Now we do this in training, to see that even if I'm completely static, when you see me move, all right, I can still usually pull it off. But it's unrealistic in any kind of real urban environment. Why are we standing here like statues? It's not going to happen. He's going to be talking with his hands, so move the gun around, which adds another layer of complexity. I have to be going, oh my God, don't shoot me. Okay, so it's going to be more difficult for him to detect what my hands are doing. It's also, in somewhat of a realistic situation, going to be more difficult for me because this hand likely isn't just sitting there. It may be, but he may be talking with his hands. He may be tapping me and telling me to move a certain direction, you know, with the weapon. So there's going to be movement. That movement can help you and it can hurt you, and you got to make sure once you start getting to the higher reps that you're introducing those ideas. Okay, to surmise, let's take a look at that. Closer is better, even though it's counterintuitive that you want to be as close as you can. It reduces his chance of reacting to what you're doing. Secondly, we have to try and make smooth, relaxed motions as opposed to jerky, fast, hard ones. So especially in your early training, it's not important to try and be fast. It's important to be smooth and just not make any preliminary motions. All right? Also now, here's an important tactical idea that is often ignored and poorly understood. Let's say, for example, we're using some kind of two-handed grip. That's a good idea. But if my two hands move at the same time, my shoulders are moving and my chest is moving. So we want to start getting the idea that we have to start chaining our motion, where one hand moves before the other. Why? Because it's more difficult to detect a small part of my body moving than making a two-handed lunge. So although when we show you the whole defenses, we want to have motion like this where we're getting into base, but we want to be careful about doing it all at once. Basically the rule is this: the more of my body that I'm moving, the slightly longer it takes and the more he can pick up on it. So anytime I step, this may look easy on camera, but it's going to take me a millisecond longer. And in simulations, we were getting shot all the time because we were stepping first, even though the technique was really solid. Once we changed the order that things were moving, the success rate went way up. So think about it real simply, that the less of my body that I'm moving, and you can even use joint control theory. In this case, I'm moving about 3 joints. It's going to be fairly fast. If I try to do this, all at the same time, I'm moving 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 joints, and it gives him a little bit more time. Okay? So it's important to remember that even with two-hand grabbing, this hand is moving slightly faster. So my hand, he says, put your hands up.
Hands up.
In slow motion, it would look like this. All right, this hand would move slightly first. This one's going to catch up, and then and only then, as my hand's about to make contact, I can step out into base, which is a good idea. All right. Now, this is another concept we'll be looking at a little bit as we go. Don't forget that all the rules of self-defense don't change suddenly because you're dealing with a firearm. If I forget my base and we end up here and he grabs on the weapon and we start having a struggle for this weapon, whoever is in base is going to have the advantage. There's no different than if he's grabbing my shirt or grabbing my hair. If I stand here with my feet together and he grabs and he starts, I'm going to be pulled off balance and I'm going to lose my grip. Okay? So a lot of people are ignoring this, or they say don't do this, don't do that. It's like any other form of self-defense. If you want to try to fight with a guy with your feet close together, it's not going to work very well. You're going to be knocked off or pulled off balance a lot easier, and that can mean the difference between life and death when you're talking about the grip on something relatively small, maybe slippery. Okay? So remember, balance, all the things that we talked about in the other self-defense programs apply when you're standing, whether it's a weapon defense or not. You have to have base, you have to have balance, you got to have good posture, things like that.